Hello everyone and welcome to the Deck Tech. I'm Ian Duke and joining me is Simon Neilsen. Simon, thanks so much for joining us here. You've brought with you a pretty cool deck today. I think of it as, it's like the classic Black-Green deck but with a twist of energy is one way to think of it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're calling it Junding Constrictor. You've called it Jund Zoo, I think.
Yeah, because it got both elephants and tigers and snakes, so obviously it's a zoo.
Love it. Well, let's dive right in and take a look at the cards here. So as we can see here, we've got kind of a familiar core here with Winding Constrictor, Walking Ballista, and Rishkar Pima Renegade. Tell us about these cards and why they work so well together.
So Winding Constrictor we've already seen in Standard. It works so well with the ++1/+1 counters. If you curve it into Rishkar, that's just a lot of board presence on the board really quickly. But it's very important to notice that this also puts extra counters on players, which is the energy. Energy is counters on players. So with Winding Constrictor, you can actually combine it with the energy cards too to make to just take full advantage of the card if you work on both angles. So yeah, I've already mentioned Rishkar. We just cut down from the fourth one because it's a bit awkward to draw in multiples. Walking Ballista is a bit of an afterthought actually. It looks like we started 4 and then cut down on 2, but we actually added up to 2 ballistas because this deck is a more aggressive version of the Black-Green deck, and we didn't actually want ballista because it's not a good 2-drop, it's just a 1/1. But we ended up adding a couple just because we want something that's good in the late game, because we don't really have any mana sinks. So we added a couple of ballistas for that.
Okay, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at what we have next.
Yeah, so we have, with the energy themes, we have a couple of the new cards here with Greenbeard Rampager and Aether Sphere Harvester. We haven't seen the card yet, but I think the most important one is Long Toss Cup of the energy cards, because that's a card that says both something energy and +1/+1 counters. So that's kind of where we started with Cup and Winding Constrictor being good together. Then we ended up adding the Rampagers to just fit snugly into this deck, because we got stuff like a Tune with Aether to that can produce energy for the Rampager to eat, and also just Rampager by itself. It's just a 2-mana 3/4. Just play it on turn 1 and then play it twice on turn 2.
Yeah, really versatile card. It can just be you know, a great inexpensive creature, but also combos really well with the Winding Constrictor. That
exactly. Yeah, that also makes the Rampager basically cost 1 mana less because it just produces 2 mana when it comes into play.
Or another way to think of it is you can pay just a single green mana to get 2 energy each time, as long as you have some way to spend your energy each time you're doing that loop.
That also comes up sometimes.
Really cool.
Especially with the Long Toss Cup. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Then we have Aether Sphere Harvester. So, well, that was actually a new addition. We had Nissa before. Like, Nissa seems well placed in a Winding Constrictor deck with +1/+1 counters. But the card is just very mediocre. So we ended up cutting it for Harvester, which is the card is really good. Like, this is one of the stellar cards from the new set. In this deck, it's not as good as in other decks because we don't have that many 1-power creatures, so we frequently recruit with a big guy. But even then, having a flyer that can gain lifelink, provides energy for our other energy stuff, like to make the Rampager cheap and stuff like that. That's really good. And also just being a big flyer that's hard to answer with, doesn't have to Fatal Push, doesn't have to Graph Darkness. So you can just, if you pile Verdus Gearhulk counters onto this guy, that's hard to answer for some people. We have a couple Fatal Push, that's part of our removal suit. Sweet. So yeah.
Excellent. Looks good so far. Let's take a look at the next here.
Here we have it. Long Toss Cup. This is by far my favorite creature in Standard now. I've lost too many games to this card to even, like, this is the Gorf of the set. It's amazing.
Yeah, obviously a card we've seen a lot in Limited, super strong, but combines again particularly well with Winding Constrictor, both the energy and the +1/+1.
It just works on multiple levels. Like, you attack with this guy with a Constrictor in play, and you pay 2 energy, put 2 counters on it, gain 3 energy. If you have 2 Constrictors, it goes complete ballistas. One of my teammates had a 14/14 on turn 4, attacking.
Wow.
Just with 2 ballistas.
That's pretty impressive.
With 2 Constrictors. So yeah, this card is just the nuts. Also with Greenbeard Rampager, you can basically combine it to be pay 2 green mana, gain 2 energy, spend it on the cup, and then you can basically pay 2 green mana to put 1 counter on this guy.
Wow, that's
And if you have Constrictor in play, that's pay 1 green to put 2 counters on it, because it supercharges on multiple levels.
Cool.
Then we have a couple Scroungers, just an aggressive creature. Fumigate is a really good card against this deck, so Scrounger is one of the best answers to that. We also have 2 more on the board, so that's kind of the Walking Ballista Scrounger split that we weren't sure about here the last minute, but I think 2/2 is the best one. And it's also, it's just good to drop. We had Glintsleeve Siphoner before, which is a card that works really well in the deck. But the sad part is that it has 1 toughness, so you can't play it because of the presence of a lot of Walking Ballistas in the format.
I see, it's just too vulnerable there.
So we end up Scrounger instead. And it doesn't have any synergy, it's just a good card. Sifter is an odd one, because that's also a card that doesn't have any synergy. But if you think about it, it actually does. Because the main thing it does is all your free drops now ramp you into the Virtus Gear Hulk, which is like the big power play of the deck. Because you have 4 Shifter and 3 Rishkar, both of them produce mana. So we are able to just skip the 4-drop completely, because there are no really good 4-drops for this deck anyway.
Right, right.
Shifter also makes multiple bodies so that you can divide your Gear Hulk or Rishkar counters better. And it lets you scry so that you in the late game can put all your excess lands you don't really need and try to find your Gear Hulks or find whatever you need to win the game.
Makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, and obviously Gear Hulk, we have seen it with Constrictor before. Like that card is just amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the utility spells here. And to me, the one that really stands out, well, I guess both Attune with Aether and Harness Lightning really stand out here as part of that energy package.
Yeah, exactly. So when we figured out, originally the deck was black-green. When we figured out that we could just play, that we had the Attunes and all this package, like the rest of the deck is just black-green if you've seen. One of my teammates and fellow Dane, Søren Larsen, came up with the idea that Harness Lightning was something you could splash in this deck, and actually makes the mana base better than playing Grasp of Darkness. Because you want this answer to Felidar Dark Guardian so you don't die to the combo, but Grasp costs double black, and that's really hard to fit with a Tuned Aether. Whereas just a single mountain casts Harness Lightning. Also, it works with the deck on multiple levels. Like it provides extra energy sometimes for other stuff, or you can make Harness Lightning shoot for a lot of damage. Like with Winding Constrictor in play or Winding Constrictor, it shoots for 4 by itself. And then it obviously can scale up. Like I've killed multiple 8/8s with a Harness Lightning.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And also we can use this as a pump spell with the cup, because you just shoot it for 0 and then you have extra energy. You can just
oh, cool.
Use to put
you can just save all the energy from the Harness Lightning. That's really cool. So next up, we're going to kind of just whiz through the mana base really quick because we don't have too much time here.
We have 20 lands. We have to make sure that we can cast Attune with Aether on set 1, so that's why we have some game trails. We don't actually have that many red sources because we don't need that much. We just have 4 Harness Lightning. So we just need 1 Smoldering Marsh and 2 game trails, and then 1 mountain for the Attune Aether.
Okay, and let's just zip through sort of the next couple
here. Then we have 3 Aether Hubs. We can't play too many of these because they're awkward multiples. Sometimes we have pretty harsh color restrictions. So, and then the Quagmire just 2. Tap lands are bad, but we need the colored choices.
Yeah, totally.
And then some basics. Obviously, Brewing Marsh is amazing in this deck.
And then plenty of basics to find with Attune with Aether.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you often just go for more forest because you want your green pale wave pitchers to be able to, like, that's often a triple green card. So,
well, the deck looks great. How are you doing in the tournament so far?
I'm 4-1 right now. So yeah, I like the deck. It crushes people. So yeah, hopefully I'll.
Great. Keep up the good work. So Simon Neilsen, I'm Ian Duke, signing off from Deck Tech.